in the backyard, ayy. Garden gone wild when the beat start, ayy. Neighbors looking out like, what's that shake? Whole block wiggle when the ground vibrate. Little dirt pile, see it start jumping. Brown line bend and the tail start pumping. Sprinkle a drip, now the crew feel brave. 20 fat worms do the wave in the pavement. First split open like a backstage door. They slide out slow, then they drop to the floor. One spin round, got the ants all lurking. Everybody yelling out, big worms twerking. Big worms twerking, wiggle in the mud. Backline squirm when they feel that thud. Backyard bounce, whole soil start jerking. Hands in the air for the big worms twerking. Big worms twerking, shake that ground. Tiny little booties make a thunder sound. Kids all scream, even birds stop chirping. World stand still for the big worms twerking. One got stripes like a candy cane stripe. One so thick, make the whole crew hype. They don't need shoes, they don't need change. They just hit splits in a puddle at the rain. Slug on the side like, teach me move. Snail too slow, but he feel those grooves. Beetle on the law, tryna act all certain. Camera in his claw for the big worms twerking. Big worms twerking, wiggle in the mud. Backline squirm when they feel that thud. Backyard bounce, whole soil start jerking. Hands in the air for the big worms twerking. Big worms twerking, shake that ground. Tiny little booties make a thunder sound. Kids all scream, even birds stop chirping. World stand still for the big worms twerking.
Oh, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. It's so weird not having a live chat, and listen. I know y'all hate that shit. I know y'all hate that shit. I am pulling a nunya today. I I need to be able to God. Now look, the other me is still up here. Anyways, sorry, I got booted. I got booted. Can y'all hear me? Let me know in the Discord. Can you hear me now? Jason? Better now. Okay. For some reason this it keeps booting me. This is the second time it's booted me out of StreamYard. Thank you, Jason. Oh, no, was that Nunya? Jason, then Nunya. Okay. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Welcome in. Welcome in. Listen, I know my live the other day triggered a lot of people, including myself. And I know not having a chat is probably you've got to be fucking kidding me. Lord Jesus. So, anyways, like I was saying, I know having no chat today is probably it's probably throwing a lot of you off because I mean people have so many opinions and so many things they want to say. And I'm not trying to silence y'all guys. I'm not. Um what? Hold on. Shut up, Nunya. Nunya, shut up. Shut up, Nunya. I'm not trying to silence y'all. I'm trying to keep my focus. Um, as I don't want what happened the other day to happen again, because in my emotions, in my anger, uh, I triggered a lot of people, including myself. And that is not at all what I meant to do. Um, I kept saying things and trying to get people to understand, even drudging up something in my life that's been shut down for 22 years, haven't even went into, there's some things we bury. Like I even triggered myself the other day. And I spent all day yesterday going through my thoughts and talking with my friends and literally just trying to figure out what went wrong. I didn't understand that something I was saying was coming across a certain way. And I didn't understand why. And now I have more of a grasp on it. But first and foremost, I want to apologize to any mother or parent that I triggered by saying we are responsible for what happens to our children. Um, I didn't mean it the way it was explained to me that it came off. And it's like I would try to fix it and try to help y'all understand what like the things, the words going through my mind. And I just kept fucking up. I just kept fucking up. And it's not funny at all, but it is funny to me in my mind that I did that with fucking up my words because it's something I often do. I do much better when I write, when I journal. I'm a great writer. I express things because I have time to pull things out of my head and say what I'm actually meaning to say instead of when you're on a live stream and you're just blurting out stuff trying to get it figured out in your own mind. Um and that's what happened the other day. And I can absolutely understand now why people were triggered by what I said the other day. But I wanted to come here and talk to like this. Again, the live chat is off so that I can stay focused. The comments will be on after the live. But this is not for anyone else other than my people, my friends, the people I have created a rapport with, people that I've gotten to know, whether you're a subscriber or you're a close friend or, an acquaintance. Like, this is for all of you that actually give a fuck about me and were concerned or shocked by what I said or hurt by what I said. That is what this live stream is for. This live stream is not for Clue or Cletus or Queen or any of them. They have nothing. I mean, I'm going to tell you some things, but they have nothing to do with this live that I'm doing right here. I need you guys to know, and I don't expect the forgiveness. I don't expect the understanding. I don't expect the grace, but I do hope that you find it for me. Because I do love y'all, and I do enjoy coming here and chopping it up and talking shit with y'all. It's fun. It's fun until it's not, right? And this is what I was venting about too in my stream the other day is it's fun when it's just bitching back and forth, talking shit back and forth, surface level, kept to the platform. But that shit has long been gone. Long been gone. Before I even did the FOIA I did on Queen Bee, that they would have you believe that is the first thing real life that ever happened, and it wasn't. It wasn't. And it's just time to be fucking real. This community has been going to shit for a long time. I don't want to call it the trauma community because it's not what the trauma community used to be. This is straight up the drama community. Actually, I'd go even further to say this is the real life community. I've never seen anything like it. But I feel like after, taking it in and going through it and working through my own headspace of how I was feeling, because I, in an attempt to try to help y'all understand what I was saying, I triggered myself on my own trauma. So yesterday was pretty much just spent trying to figure out my mindset and trying to figure out the best way to put it to y'all to where it makes sense and you don't think I'm blaming parents for what happens to their children. Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry. Give me just a second. I'm trying to pull up my. Hold on. Bear with me. No, that's not what I was looking for. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to sign into something. Hold on now. So what I did was, as I was going through my emotions yesterday and a little bit this morning too, I kind of journaled my thoughts as I went through it. as well as some other exercises I did yesterday to work through my own thoughts. So sorry, I'm trying to pull my little note tab up. But my notepad is being stupid. My notepad's being stupid. What the fuck? My God. Okay, hold on. Let me try it a different way because it's not letting me open it. Okay. So, like I said yesterday, I kind of disconnected from everyone and everything. Like I did have conversations with few close friends. Yeah. Tony just said, is that your script? It's not a script, you piece of shit. It's he's such an asshole. He knows I have to write my thoughts down in order to keep a one track mind. This is not the first time I've went through something like this where I say things and I'm trying to put out what I'm saying, but it's just I'm not putting it out the right way. It comes across a different way. And it fucking sucks, man. Because when that happens, it not only fucks me or hurts me, right? It hurts you guys too. It hurts the people that support me and appreciate me. And I don't want to hurt anybody. That's never my intention. Hold on. Let's see. Yo, hold on. My cats. I kept hearing noises. My cat's behind my TV on my TV stand. Oh, it's so weird not having a chat because I feel like I know what a lot of y'all are probably saying. But and again, I know it sucks for y'all, so I am taking away from y'all by doing this way, by pulling a funya nunya. But that's not my intentions. I'm not trying to take away from you guys. Hold on. Hold on. I feel like Brittany J right now saying, hold on 111 billion times. Okay, I finally got it. I got it. So when I was talking the other day, I was using the word responsible or responsibility a lot. And I want to kind of just go into that a little bit and explain to you guys what I was actually trying to say. You're already hearing the spin off of what I said. People and everybody has a right to take what I said the way they take it because I didn't say it correctly. I didn't put it out there correctly. I put it out there irresponsibly. Because I wasn't prepared to go into that topic. I was emotionally charged. I was aggravated, agitated. And I just went off. And trying to get across what I was trying to say is never going to work when I'm emotionally charged. You all know that. I know that. We're not dumb to that. I mean, it is a flaw I have. It's also impulsive. Impulsivity is a flaw I have, which is why I'm here today. I was told not to do this, and I was like, I ain't listening to none of y'all. I got something I want to say because, and to be quite honest, and I think any of my close friends can validate this. Yesterday, I was hurting because I hurt so many others and didn't mean to. Like, even though I'm melting down and going through my own trauma that I resurfaced after 22 years, I was still like, should I make a community post so that they know that's not what I was saying? I don't want them to hurt. And that's kind of why I'm here today, because I don't want y'all to hurt. And I know if I get this off my chest, it may help you guys, or it could make it worse for you guys. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. But if I can give some ease, some relief, that's what I want to do. So the other day I was saying, basically we are responsible for our children. And what I meant was we are responsible, or what I meant is that we are responsible for our children in general, whether they're hurt due to bad parenting or the best parenting. Anything that happens to our kids falls back on us. It's our responsibility. By that, now don't get upset. By that, I mean, I think if it's something that happens to, if it's something, something like that happens to a child, I feel like it's a normal reaction for the parent or the guardian to feel responsible for what happened for said child. Whether it's guilt or shame or even embarrassment. As parents, we get left with feeling responsible and with many questions. What could I have done better? What did I not see? What could I have done to change the outcome of this, right? And we will still question ourselves in that way, even when we know we did everything. Even if you are a super hyper vigilant parent and you do everything you can to prevent it, it doesn't mean it's going to prevent it. In my experience growing up, not personally, as I, told y'all the other day, I don't consider what happened to me to be as traumatic as it happening to a younger child. I'm blessed that I did not have to go through that as a younger child. I went through it as a teen, and I was provided by my parents with ways to get through it and ways to deal with it and how to handle it, right? But in my experience with other people around me, whether it be friends or other distant family members or cousins or, whatever it is, in my experience, I've had more interactions with the neglectful parents. And by neglectful parents, I mean the ones that like bury their head in the sand and pretend nothing happened, or even the ones that don't believe when their child comes to them and tells them something. Thankfully, when what happened to me as a teen happened, my mom and dad did what they were supposed to do as parents. What they didn't do was go around bragging about what they did for me as my parent in that situation. Why? I mean, because that was one of the questions that went through my mind last night. Why did they not go bragging? Because to hear Clue, you would think it's normal. No, bragging about doing what's right for your child in that situation is not normal. So I asked myself, why? Why did my parents not go around bragging about it? Well, the best conclusion I could come up with is because they were probably putting themselves down for not noticing something. Maybe putting themselves down for not catching something. Maybe for not questioning something. Because you're not going to brag. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. You're not going to brag that you have a victim or are a victim. My parents knew they couldn't have known what would happen, and especially in the future, right? And they know that I know that now as an adult, that they were not at fault for what happened with me. My mom is not at fault, or my dad is not at fault for not questioning, even though the teen me, the me that didn't deal with it back then, I was trying to express that back then that was my thoughts. That, my thought was, how did I end up here? How was this allowed? I was confused. Like, how did I slip through here and nobody noticed that I was out here doing shit I wasn't supposed to be doing? That was my thoughts as a teen. As an adult, I understand human fucking error. I get it. And that was the huge point to everything I was talking about the other day, is that there is human error. There is, but as well as human error, there is neglect. As well as there is neglect, there is the push to do everything and still not be able to control what happens, right? They're predators for a reason. There was no way for them to know that I was going out getting food barred at a friend's house, constantly. There was no way for them to know that I was over there just to drink and smoke and get away with whatever the fuck I wanted to get away with. So I was trying to explain the other day what the thoughts were that went through my mind back then. But the more I tried to explain it to y'all, the more the words just didn't come out right. I got myself all twisted, turned upside down. Oh, and I wrote this in my thing. My thoughts back then as a teen was, why did they let me get myself in that position? That's not my thoughts now as an adult who understands human error is a thing. Yes, it is. I'm grateful I didn't suffer any serious trauma as a young child. And when I say young child, I don't mean 15, 16. I mean young child. I'm grateful I was raised to consider other people. I'm grateful I was raised that people fuck up, that I will fuck up, but those fuck ups don't always determine a human's character, and that people deserve chances to grow. Y'all know more than anything, if you've been supporting me for any amount of time, that I try to extend grace a lot, too much sometimes. I'm grateful I was raised to judge a person by their heart, not by their looks. I'm grateful I was raised to be open-minded and to know that I don't always know everything. And I don't. So let's go back to the responsibility word. Because that was the word of the motherfucking day the other day. That was the word of the day. That responsibility word had us, not only y'all, I know some of y'all were upset with me, but it had me upset too because, again, like I said, trying to explain everything, I opened up wounds I hadn't even thought about in years, 22 years. And I hurt all of us with that word responsibility, and I want to take accountability for that. I, for the life of me, cannot understand why y'all weren't understanding what I was trying to put across to you. I just couldn't grasp it. I didn't understand what y'all didn't understand. You know, I was trying so hard to get the understanding that I triggered my own feelings on a situation I buried deep for 22 years. All that did was make me more emotional and screw up on what I was trying to relay even more. I spent a lot of my time, I told y'all yesterday, talking to a few of the friends in the background, and they were just trying to help me through my thoughts. Instead of accusing me or attacking me, they were trying to figure out. It's like they knew what I was trying to say, but I wasn't getting it out to them correctly. Because what they were explaining back to me, I was trying to say, yes, yes, that's it. And I was told, but that's not how you put it out there. And I had to sit in that. I had to sit in that and take that in and think about it. Then my sweet friend Deetsy said something that clicked for me. She told me basically that I triggered all these other parents, moms, dads, guardians in general, pretty much that I triggered everybody with that word responsible because I was using it interchangeably. I was using it not only as a sword, but as a shield as well. That's when it clicked. And I said, you know, when I said that we are responsible as their parents, I didn't mean for the action itself. It took a little bit yesterday of us discussing it for me to grasp that that's why everybody was so offended, because I made it seem with that word, like I was saying, that the parents are responsible for whatever bad thing like that happened to their children. And that's not what I was trying to say. Oh my God, my cat's in there knocking one of the ornaments around. Sure, there are some parents out there that knowingly allow abuse, right? Like, in my opinion, Jen Soto. But that is not even what I was referring to. I was trying to say that we as the parents are responsible for that being in general, and that whatever happens to them under our care always falls back on us as the parents. And if something does happen to a child in our care, even if we did everything right, it is a notch. Now, hang with me here. It is a notch in the parenting pole. And I'm trying to think of a way to explain this. Like, when something does happen to a child in our care, even if we did everything right, it still is like a notch in our parenting post, and that it's basically something we need to remember when we have shit like that go down in our own lives, right? Maybe to try to be more cognizant of judging other parents. If anything, when we go through situations such as that, it should encourage understanding, grace, and a little empathy, that things aren't always what they seem when we judge each other's parenting. I personally try to do that. That's my whole argument for this Brittany thing, is like, how are people who have parenting flaws saying anything about this other person's parenting. I think we all fail at some point as parents, and that's why we should be careful in judging other people's parenting. I'm not obtuse to the fact that there are parents out here that aren't as privileged to be able to make choices in their lives like I was able to do, that allow them to hover and relentlessly try to protect their children, which is what I've dedicated pretty much my life to. And there are parents that have to choose daycare or, other means like babysitters so that they can work and provide for their family, provide for that child. Sorry, I had to text. Because what's the point in protecting your child if you can't work, right? And provide for the child. And then what? Go homeless? So then you have to choose either relentlessly protecting your child or be homeless? Like, no, it's unfortunate as fuck, but it is a reality. The parents that do their due diligence when leaving their children in someone else's care, those are the parents I'm talking about. That you can do and do and do and try and try and try and not necessarily come out with, the protection you tried to ensure. Because again, that's what predators are. They prey. That's what they do. And I can't imagine being a parent that does their due diligence when leaving their children in someone else's care and it still not be enough, because then you're left with a type of regret and, I guess, helplessness. And I can't imagine having those feelings, knowing that it was this choice or this choice. I made this choice to provide for my child, and this happened to my child because I wasn't able to be there. I can't imagine how that feels. And I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry that what I said triggered you if that was your position, right? If me saying what I was saying made you think I was saying that you're less of a parent because you couldn't leave your job, and no, it doesn't make you less of a parent. It doesn't make me more of a parent. But I was trying to differentiate that I left my job because I was able to. And God blessed me in that way to where I was able to. But that's not the case for others. And I need to keep that in mind, because the helplessness, the sadness, the hope that is lost when it comes to those parents who do everything right and try to provide, and something still goes wrong, it's just not fair. And I shouldn't have generalized what I was saying to Clue or about Clue to everyone else. That's not what I was trying to do. I'm so sorry for that. My emotional rant not only triggered myself, but triggered hundreds, thousands of other people. I feel like all I can do is apologize for it and try to try to explain to y'all what I meant. And I don't expect the forgiveness. I don't expect the grace, but I do appreciate it. So that is for all of you. That is for all of my friends that I hurt. Because it truly wasn't my intention. Nope. Nope. Get your shit together. Not y'all, me. So now we're going to kind of turn over to what I was saying about Clue and why I was saying it. So I know people are upset, and I know, especially her, the people. Hold on. Why is it not showing me everything? Hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on, y'all. Tony's calling. Sorry, y'all. Tony called. He made it to work. Thank God it's Friday. Just let me say that before we get into this next part, okay? So I understand that people are triggered thinking I'm blaming Clue. And in a sense, I guess I am, because in a way, I do feel like she is at fault. Let me go through this with y'all though. When it comes to Clue, and this is my belief, not something I expect everybody else to believe. And it doesn't make it true. Definitely doesn't make it true. But it is my belief that she doesn't fall into the category we just talked about. The parents that do their due diligence, the parents that, do everything right and still something happens, the parents that provide and have no other option but to leave their children in someone else's care. I don't think that she falls into any of those positions, or any of those categories. My opinion is that she didn't do her due diligence of who she was introducing into her child's life. But I don't want anybody to think that I'm thinking that for no reason. I have my reasons. I feel that way due to things I've heard her say herself. She has in the past talked about the friend that she asked about that man, because she said that friend dated him in high school. And how the friend told her he's a little weird. That was a conversation Clue had with her audience on her own stream when she first started covering Sebastian Rogers. Another thing that contributes to my thought process of, her maybe not doing her due diligence is the fact that there was barely any time for true healing to be done before she jumped to the next dude, which would be Cletus. Cletus would be the next dude. The fact that she's admitted that she has learned from that situation, which is great, right? Like, abso-fucking-lutely. I think it's wonderful she learned from that situation. But I do think it sucked that she had to learn hold on. Sorry, I got a text. Hold on. Oh, it's just tell me this. Hold on. My God, don't text me. You're throwing me off. I think it's great that she learned from that situation and that it taught her to be more diligent, which is why she did a background report on Cleta, right? I mean, I remember hearing her talk about that, about how, she's got this pedo radar now, and it taught her to do her due diligence. But the fact that you had to be taught to do your due diligence, for me, is where my mind goes. I hate it. Had to be after her daughter went through something. That part of it sucks. I wish there could have been, I mean, the fact that she says, the situation happened, I turned him in, got his ass locked away for so long. And now I've got a radar for pedos, and I do background checks all over the place. Like, I think all of that's great, but I think it would have been better had it been before you thought about bringing any adult male that is not her biological father into the picture. That's my opinion, and I'm allowed to have it. Had she have done that due diligence before it happened, maybe it would have never happened, but that's something we will never, ever know. To me, sexual abuse of any kind is not something to brag about. This is another thing that contributes to my thought process on her not doing her due diligence and not being a responsible parent before it happened. She does that a lot. She goes around telling people no other mother over here would do what she did. We would just pretend like nothing was happening. No other mother other than her would be able to handle it the way she handled it. To me, when you're a victim and you're the mother of a victim, you don't go around bragging. She expects praise and flowers for doing what a mother should do. I personally feel that feeling of guilt and responsibility that parents feel when they aren't able to protect their children is not something that I think went through Clue's thought process at all. I won't say it definitely didn't. I can't prove that it definitely didn't, nor would I want to prove that. But I do feel that way, and I'm entitled to have that opinion, whether you agree with it or not. I understand over here it can be a little triggering because we try not to say these impulsive thoughts, right? I slip up all the time and say impulsive thoughts. But for the most part, we try to keep them in as to not trigger others or to not hurt others. We don't want to be or turn into the piece of shit humans that we are reviewing for being piece of shits, because then that makes us all pieces of shit. There's a dark, I feel like, and I heard Pink Dagger say this. No, it wasn't Pink Dagger. I think I've seen it in somebody's comments that there is like this dark energy around Clue. I'm not going to go as far as Brittany J and say that, it's, what is it? I can't ask y'all because y'all aren't chatting. There's something she says, spiritual war, I think. I wouldn't go as far as to say that. I just think she's just truly a miserable person because when you're not miserable, when you're actually truly authentically happy, you don't find happiness in hurting other people. She's the least genuine person I've come across on this app. It's just a negative energy. I believe she pulls the worst out of people, including me. That's not her fault. I'm responsible for if I click your fucking live and listen to it. I don't even think she always means to try to pull the nastiness out of people. I know she does sometimes. She's got this whole rage baiting thing, shock jock thing she tries to do. I think she intends to hurt people and to trigger people sometimes, but then sometimes I think she pulls it out of people without even meaning to, because I think her soul is just that dark. I'm sorry if you can't agree with me on that, but my opinions are that they're just mine. In my mind, I do fault Clue for not doing her due diligence prior, while at the same time, I also still support how she handled it afterwards. I stand on what I believe, doesn't make it right, doesn't make it true, but it's still my belief nonetheless. She has bragged about being a racist and a bigot at one point. Now she denies it. She has bragged that she's rich. She's not. She brags that she's beautiful. She's not. She brags about her man's home that she lives in. Same as Brittany, the woman she judges for doing that, for living in Craig's home. She brags, or better yet, bullies another woman about not being married and living in her boyfriend's home while she does the same. All Clue is, in my opinion, is an insecure, selfish twat who couldn't even be selfless long enough to allow healing in their lives. A selfish beast that pushes the I don't give a fuck attitude to her own child because, well, mom's a bad bitch and she got over it, so you can too. Y'all can be mad, but that's my feeling. So now we're coming to the end part of the live. B. Beast. As for you, B, much like Clue, you will never, ever, ever catch me taking you serious. Not with life advice, but especially not with parenting advice. This was one of the things I mentioned the other day. How can you have a notch on your parenting post, the notch that you have, but you still think you have the fucking right to sit here and bully another woman about her parenting or tell her what she should and should not do with her parenting? You can disagree with her parenting all day long. You can have opinions with her about her parenting. You can have opinions about her parenting all day long. But trying to tell a bitch how to parent, it's not your forte. Pipe down, bitch. You don't get to do that. You dog Brittany for her parenting while you have a history of bad parenting choices yourself. Ain't that right? FOIAs are for the public, and we all have a right to FOIA. That's what Clue says, her bestie, anyways. I think for the most part, the B feels the same way until it comes to her FOIAs. Of course, she wouldn't want her FOIAs requested or her criminal record looked up and exposed. It would show what a terrible, not only human, but mother you are. We have talked about her door being busted in, but we always leave the children out of it because, well, we wouldn't want our kids brought up, right? Well, I'm not being the bigger person on this any longer because my kid is constantly brought up. You had two small children that had to witness your door being busted in. The door being busted in by the DEA and the feds throwing the parents to the floor, raiding their home. I can only hope that one of those men at least took your kids out of the room and tried to keep their minds off of it, because God knows their mama didn't. She couldn't. She was on the floor in handcuffs. You are a shit mother, and probably because you were raised without a mother. I get that. History can repeat itself, and if you're not careful, it can repeat itself easily and swiftly unless you work hard to not repeat the history. You didn't try. As Upchurch has on his face, Mama didn't try. You decided the thug street life was easier for you, thus setting up your own kids for fucking failure. You think it's normal to have teen children with juvenile police reports? Huh? Where they do that at, though? Not here. Let me get a sip of my basic bitch coffee. Basic bitch iced coffee. Basic bitch iced coffee. You're such a great parent that you tell your daughters they are being stalked and harassed by a 50-year-old predator. Yeah, I don't expect that to scar them at all. Like, the fuck? So I'm going to end it with this little bit right here. Thank y'all for coming and at least hearing me out. I will go cut the comments on under the live after the live is over. But thank y'all. Thank y'all for being here and at least hearing me. I don't know what my plan is from here on out. I really don't. Before we continue on this rant, I really don't know what my plan is from here on out. I truly don't. I just know I don't want to be around this cesspool of nasty people. I don't want to cover it anymore. So when I pop up, I'll pop up. When I pop in, I'll pop in. You'll see me when you see me, okay? Let's continue. This dog is snoring. You can lie on me, Queen Bee, and say that I was raped by my dad as a child. You can lie, Queen Bee, and say that I smoke and take drugs before I drive a school bus, as if I don't get random drug tests, and as if taking a Xanax on a Friday night at 10 p.m. is a fucking problem. You can lie about it. You can even lie and say I stole drugs from my father-in-law that was dying of cancer, even though we didn't make it there to Savannah, Georgia until 30 minutes before his passing. Shame on you. I did take the pills after he passed, though. Like, before we went home, we had to clear out all his stuff. Of course I took the pills home. I was an addict. You can lie and say I was finger banged in front of my child. You can lie and say that I foiled a minor. You can tell all these lies. But you know what isn't a lie? When I say you are a terrible human that has no ambition, zero, no drive to be good, no good parenting tips for anyone, a shit mom, a shit wife, living in a shit home, being a shit homeowner, a shit pet owner, and a miserable bitch that will spend the rest of her life hurting and bullying others while she wastes away in her own cloud of stale smoke with no one in sight but your dogs and the recliner you sleep in so you don't die in your sleep. All of that is the God's honest truth. How about you do humanity a favor and sleep in a regular bed, bitch, lay all the way the fuck down, completely on your back. Please, bitch, do us that favor.